My name's Sarah, and I've been asked by Turn Up for Recovery to share my story as a person who has had addiction and alcoholism in my family for a very long time. I first became aware of my son's, shall we say, problems when he was a schoolboy. He was 14, and I was summoned by the headmaster because he had been found with poppers. This was, I think, the beginning of our journey, but in all honesty, I suspect it had been going on prior to that. So the headmaster had no option other than to expel him from school, and that's really when things started to happen. On occasions, he'd get arrested, and I'd have to go and help him. I say that, of course, it wasn't helping him at all. But age 14, 15, 16, I hadn't really got what it takes at that time to step back and let go and let him fall. I tried probably everything. I tried kindness, I tried persuasion, I tried firm words. But as I was to go on this very lengthy journey, I realized that my firmness at that point wasn't enough. In order to really be of help to an addict, I realized that I had to separate my son from the addict. They're two different people, and it took me a very, very long time to reach that point. I was completely and utterly exhausted. I was exhausted. I was wrung out. I still had my daughter to protect, to care for. I didn't have very much help from my children's father. And I realized that I needed some help. I needed to reach out for help. One of the treatment centres that my son went to ran a family group, a family support group. And the first meeting I went to, I was probably in tears the whole time and thought that by going to the family support group, I could fix him. In fact, after meeting after meeting after meeting, the penny dropped that actually this family support group was for me. It was all about looking after me. It was about self-care, taking care of myself. And tiny little bits, the penny started to drop, that I couldn't help him. I could not fix him. I couldn't do it. It's impossible. Through joining the family group, I learnt to put boundaries in place. It took me a long time to actually get a firm boundary. All too often it was like a floppy washing line, and I would get a call from my son saying, "Oh, Mum, my phone's not working. Could you give me 20 quid?" This kind of thing. And oh, all right, because I was codependent, I needed to know he could contact me. Eventually, I got ground down. And there are three things that one learns in family group, support group, the three C's. I didn't cause this illness. I certainly couldn't cure it, and I absolutely can't control it. Anyway, through the boundaries, after a long, long time of all this denial, I suppose, I finally put a strong enough boundary in place. And I said, if you're in my home and you drink or use, I'm going to put you out on the street. I had been working. I got home at 2 o'clock in the morning. He was there. He was drunk. and I decided, that's it, you have to go. With the help of a friend, he was bundled into my car and he was delivered into a place in our hometown with a rug. And that was it. He was on the street. And he was on the street for quite some time. However, this in many ways was the beginning of the best journey, because he had to seek help for himself. He did eventually get funding, and very eventually he did get into treatment away from the hometown. Having delivered him to treatment, having done a 6-hour drive with him drinking all the way, he didn't allow me to go into the treatment centre. And as I sat in the car, exhausted, I had imagined that life would be wonderful now because he was in a safe place. I could just, well, I probably wouldn't have driven for 6 hours home, but I could relax. It couldn't have been further from the truth. I started crying, and I felt as though the crying didn't stop for many, many moons. Having got an understanding of what I needed to do to help myself, I reached out to the family group, to Al-Anon. I do yoga and I meditate. I also actually share my experience with newcomers who are starting their own journey. I enjoy helping other people, actually. It's very beneficial, and it also highlights how far I have come and how I finally got the light bulb moment that there is nothing that we can do to fix an addict. They have to get to their complete rock bottom to reach out for help and for them to get the light bulb moment. We just can't do anything for them. I think reaching out for help will be really forever. It will be forever, because the journey continues daily. There are certain parts of it that will always remain with me. There are wonderful, wonderful moments when I see my son now, who is clean and sober, and there is my son again, and not the addict. There have been times, therefore, on my journey that I've had great hope, and then the hopes have been dashed away. But I just keep going, and there are friendship groups out there, and they support, and that's given me a wonderful, wonderful help. Today, and actually I'll say it just for today, I can relax. Today is wonderful. The sun is shining, my son is well, he's working, he's taking responsibility for his life. He's had a lot of catching up to do, and I'm forever grateful for that. I can sleep easy at night. Having said that, I'm always aware that it is just for today. Anything could happen tomorrow. We can never assume that a relapse isn't just around the corner. We can never know why that might happen, but it's fact that sometimes, sadly, it does.